Kamala is talking. Oh yeah, she's talking tonight, right? Let's hear from her. Let's hear and let's listen. I'm sitting my white ass down.
Organization in history. I've been doing this. I always kid and say,
oh, Biden is calling into his former campaign headquarters.
I don't know of a better campaign organization, grassroots campaign. You know, we have over 230 offices opened. We have over 2,000 paid staff, and we have literally several thousand volunteers on a regular basis, thousands of them. And they've been relentless and tireless in reaching out and contacting voters. The leadership of this campaign has been amazing. Jen O'Malley, Dillon, Julie, Quinton, Michael Tyler, Rob Flaherty, Rufus on raising money, and so many more. You built this team. You brought them together. You brought us together.
Bro, he sounds like AI Biden. He sounds so clear and so coherent. Like a weight has been lifted off of his shoulders.
The top of the ticket, but the mission hasn't changed at all. And by the way, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be out there in the campaign with her, with Kamala. I'm going to be working like hell, both as a sitting president, getting legislation passed, as well as in campaign.
Like motherfucker was like, he was dying 3 days ago.
And Trump is still a danger to the community. He's a danger to the nation. And just ask my foreign policy colleagues, my counterparts, and other people around the world.
Damn, he's spitting, dude. He's spitting. What is happening?
So I'm hoping you'll give every bit of your heart and soul that you gave to me to Kamala. And
bro, what the f do they put in Paxlovid? I swear to God, I'm about to start mainlining that straight ripping Paxlovid.
6 months left of my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy.
Bro, this is the most coherent he's been.
Continue to speak out on guns and child care, elder care, prescription drugs, and climate. Climate still is the existential.
What is going on?
And we have, if we don't win this thing, it's all in jeopardy. And we got to keep working for an end to the war in Gaza. I'll be working very closely with the Israelis and with the Palestinians to try to work out how we can get the Gaza war to end and Middle East peace and get all those hostages home. I think we're on the verge of being able to do that. And we got to keep our alliances together. It's critically important. It took a while for me to build these alliances. Most of these my colleagues have acknowledged that, but it's critically important for our safety and security. And I know I'll be doing whatever Kamala wants me or needs me to do in addition. So let me be real clear. We're still fighting in this fight together. I'm not going anywhere. And I want you to know you've always had my back, and I promise you, I will always have your back. And I'm anxious for you all to hear from Kamala. So thank you, Julie. You're the best.
Okay, that was crazy.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President.
Bro called in the morning Joe with like at 25% power in comparison to this.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President, again, for taking time to join our call today. And, you know, as the president said, we are full steam ahead in supporting the vice president, and we are seeing incredible enthusiasm already. From
Why does she also sound like Kamala Harris?
Democratic governors to senators to House members to mayors to folks across the country. You know, our Democratic Party is really uniting around our nominee. And we just announced that we raised $81 million in 24 hours.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. What was that? That was weird, bro. That was weird as f. I have been paying close attention to Biden for 4 years. And especially in the last month, he has never had a moment where he sounded like that.
Wow.
Get this Rizzless man out of here.
So much.
Bro, bring one of his daughters out, okay? Instead. They have more charisma. Not Douglas.
So thank you so much.
Don't do it. Second gentleman Doug, about to be first gentleman Doug.
Very emotional.
Yo, we have to respect. We have to put some respect on Douglas. I actually have to go back on what I said because he might have been the guy that gave Biden COVID, okay, and made this all happen. The plan is in motion.
This was day one 4 years ago, and now look where we are now. Now I get to support my wife, Kamala Harris, running for president of the United States. Let me tell you something. We are going to win this election.
That's the look of a man that secured the bag. I mean, he did. I mean, they still kiss with more passion than Josh Hawley and his wife.
Thank you all. Thank you. Can we just give it up again for my husband?
What do you call a male first lady, first gentleman?
It is so
Come
good
on,
to
dude.
hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still
He said a male first lady.
and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
Damn. Still on the phone. He's like, don't you be talking now.
So, Joe, I'm going to recognize some of the electeds who are here, and then I'm going to get back to you. Hold on a second. So let me please, acknowledge some extraordinary national leaders who are also dear friends, both to the president and to me. Governor John Carney, where are you? There you are. And his wife, they are
Damn,
here.
look at her
Senator
pointing to
Tom
people,
Harper, my
remembering their
father.
names, not up her
Wife is
speech.
here. Chris Coons,
How
my dear
refreshing.
friend. Attorney General Kathy Jennings. And
Joe's listening on the other side like, you are clapping a little too hard, okay?
And so today, just right after Joe made his announcement, it was important for me to continue with his role of leadership in this office, of like him, who has said for many, many, many months, and I say it today, thank you all so very much for what
Say
you
thank
are
you,
doing
thank you, thank you.
and what you will continue to do.
What was
has
it? What was it?
been one of the
Ricchetti
greatest
and
honors of
Jen
my
O'Malley
life,
Dillon are the two
truly,
top
to serve
campaign
as
advisors.
Vice President to our President Joe Biden. Joe's legacy of accomplishment.
What is going on?
Just over a lifetime, but just over the last
With the
3.5
quality!
years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who served historic legislation. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a firsthand witness to all this work. I would sit with Joe in the Oval Office while he would bring members of both sides of the aisle and talk and listen and help them see what they may have in common and how we can actually work towards solutions. And because of their confidence in Joe, these accomplishments occurred. Joe has stood up for democracy at home, and he has stood
This should be the last day she defends Joe Biden.
And he has always
She has to do this year because it's like the
what he
campaign
believes is
changing,
right.
campaign headquarters.
And many of you
And its
may
campaign
know,
is
I
changing
first
hands.
came to- Bo and I worked together.
This
as
is
state
the
attorneys
last
general.
day, okay?
And back then,
Never
Bo
again.
would often tell me stories about his dad. And he would talk about the kind of father and the kind of man that Joe Biden is. And he would talk about the qualities of his father. And the qualities that Bo revered the most are the same qualities that I see every day in our president. His honesty, his integrity, his commitment to his faith and his family, his big, big heart, and his deep love of our country. And I don't need to tell you all, you know Joe's background, right? I mean, he grew up in a middle-class family in Scranton, and he has never forgotten where he comes from. And so, again, I am a first-hand witness from being with him in the Oval Office to the Situation Room and seeing him on the global stage with world leaders. President Joe Biden fights for the American people, and we are deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation. Joe, are you watching? You hear this clapping? Can you see it?
I'm watching. I'm watching.
I knew it.
You're the best, kid.
And let us be very clear, Joe is not done. Far from it. He knows there is still more work to do, and our nation will continue to praise his bold and visionary leadership as president. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And it is my great honor to have Joe's endorsement in this race.
You sure do.
And it is my intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win. So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as Vice President, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California, and before that I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I will proudly put my record against his. As a young prosecutor, when I was in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office in California, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed. As district attorney, to go after polluters, I created one of the first environmental justice units in our nation. Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution. During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big Wall Street banks and won $20 billion for California families, holding those banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of 34 counts of fraud. But make no mistake, all of that being said, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. There is more to this campaign than that. Our campaign has always been about two different versions of what we see as the future of our country, two different visions for the future of our country. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every person can buy a home, start a family, and build wealth, and where every person has access to paid family leave and affordable child care. That's the future we see. Together we fight to build a nation where every person has affordable health care, where every worker is paid fairly, and where every senior can retire with dignity. All of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because we here know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for. He and his extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class and bring us backward. Please do note that. Back to the failed trickle-down policies that gave huge tax breaks.
My controversial opinion is that this is Rizzless. Okay, this is Rizzless. It needs to be better than this. This won't take it across the finish line.
Which is a right for every American. America has tried these economic policies before. They do not lead to prosperity. They lead to inequity and economic injustice. And we are not going back. We are not going back. They're not taking us back. Our fight for the future is also a fight for freedom. Generations of Americans before us have led the fight for freedom, from our founders to our framers, to the abolitionists and the suffragettes, to the freedom riders and farm workers. And now I say, team, the baton is in our hands. We who believe in the sacred freedom to vote. We who are committed to fight to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence. And that's why we will work to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban. We who will fight for reproductive freedom, knowing if Trump gets the chance, he will sign a national abortion ban to outlaw abortion in every single state, but we are not going to let that happen. It is this team here that is going to help in this November to elect a majority of members of the United States Congress who agree the government should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. And when Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms, as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. So ultimately, to all the friends here, I say, in this election, we know we each face a question: what kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law? Yes! Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? You all are here because you as leaders know we each, including our neighbors and our friends and our family, we each as Americans have the power to answer that question. That's the beauty of it, the power of the people. We each have the ability to answer that question. So in the next 106 days, we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win. So are you ready to get to work? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we willing to fight for it? And when we
Saying she's Rizzless is giving women aren't funny. Like, I don't know. She's just not selling it, bro. What do you even mean? What do you mean? She's saying the damn thing. I think you understand exactly what I mean. Like, yeah, saying the lines doesn't carry across the finish line. Just simply saying the lines didn't help Hillary Clinton get across the finish line either. Yeah, no, but you're right. I am, of course, misogynistic. And that's why I'm saying it. I mean, it's still better than Biden because she's objectively not dying. So there's that, but it's certainly not impressive enough, because while Donald Trump is a very unpopular candidate, a very weak candidate, Kamala Harris, in order to captivate a lot of the voters that have left, and has done a decent job by just simply not being 800 years old so far, is going to have to do a little bit more than just saying the lines. Don't you think she's quite better from 4 years ago? What is she supposed to do? Dance to Brad Summer songs? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. She doesn't have the baggage that Hillary Clinton had, so obviously that's not a apt comparison. She started off strong with the, I've prosecuted people. Like, she's trying to use the attorney general prosecutor background to an advantage. Like I said, it's going to be a convict versus cop election. I'm not entirely convinced it's a super solid narrative. She's not good. She's just better than Trump. Yeah. This chat is lived up at the moment. Oh, no, for sure. Curious who would be a female politician who meets the Rizz standards. I think Whitmer, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Summer Lee, Cori Bush, Rashida Tlaib, Katie Porter, if we're moving outside of like the ideological boundaries. Anyway, I mean, she doesn't have to have a banger speech at the end of the day, but it is like pretty generic. Yeah, it's bad generic lame message. It's like 100 years old. Millions of Americans don't believe in anything she's talking about because their lives are so much worse under the system. I mean, this doesn't mean that she doesn't have a shot. Like I said, Trump is a bad candidate. Hogs are unironically claiming they were using AI Biden voice.
It was surprising, and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do.
I love that half of chat was saying that too. I mean, I was memeing about it, but of course, when I meme about some like this, conservatives are being very real about like this. Her job is not to entertain you. That's an L take. Dude, that's awesome. It took approximately 24 hours for liberals to immediately jump the Hillary Clinton lines. She's running for president. Her job literally is to entertain me. Her job is to captivate me. Her job is to captivate you. She's running for president. Shut the up. Nothing should be taken for granted. This kind of attitude is exactly what's wrong with the Democratic Party. That's so funny. Like, you're just objectively wrong when you say her job is not to entertain you. It's a message to the campaign staff. She's limited by what she's supposed to say in this situation. Obviously, it's supposed to direct still back to like Joe Biden in some ways. But overall, I think like some people got to take this seriously because they're not millionaires residing in the Hollywood Hills, my good sir. This might be entertainment to you. You just don't want to her, Lamau. Why not give her a chance? I'm Brian Kill Me. I'm Brian Kill Me. I'm Brian Kill myself right now. What is happening? What is going on in this dumbass chat? What the is happening? This is actually insane. There's like so many 7-month subscribers, 10-month subscribers, 30-month subscribers being like, You must be racist and sexist to say that her message is not very captivating. That's awesome. Wow. That's awesome. I'm Brian Kilme. It's going to be a long 106 days. Oh, yeah. The instincts that you have right now that immediately cause you to cast aside every other time you've heard me say things that you agree with. The instincts that you have right now that immediately cause you to say, well, there must be some cynical reason as to why Hasan is saying this. He must have some secret, previously uninitiated, unheard of anti-black sentiment that we just landed on right at this very moment. Those are bad instincts. You need to make sure that you never have those feelings again. Why do you assume your viewers agree with you, Lamau? I don't assume random viewers agree with me, but I would suspect that someone who has been a 7-month subscriber at the very least doesn't secretly think that I'm harboring resentment towards black women, and that resentment just all of a sudden came out after I said Kamala Harris's last speech that we just listened to was not very effective. You can disagree with me. Many people do it all day, every day. They just don't immediately make assumptions that I'm cynically, secretly a closeted racist anti-woman person. Okay? Perhaps we can make a distinction between the two. Is that possible for chatters? Yeah. Anyway, here's a 3-minute ad break right now for the many long-term community subs that are you saying you're not even a little bit wondering if it was an AI voice? No, I don't think it was an AI voice. He also literally was there and listened to the call and responded to it. So it's ridiculous. Objectively better than Joe Biden, not a carcass, able to deliver a speech, just not able to deliver a speech well so far. My biggest fear in this situation was that she was going to be like 2019 Kamala Harris, the Kamala Harris that, had to drop out, the Kamala Harris that didn't actually win anything in the primaries, the Kamala Harris that was not even looked after by the liberal Democratic Party primary voters, especially because if you want Donald Trump not to be president, okay, I don't want Donald Trump to be president, but if you also don't want Donald Trump to be president, the expectation from your president, your presidential nomination, your presidential nominee is supposed to be high. Okay? I've followed you for years, but your valid critique of her speech has gone too far. I don't think you're secretly a racist. You just had an L take, and that's okay. You're human, not always right. Camilla's job isn't to entertain you. If the race would be about the best entertainer, Trump would win. Trump did win because he was the best entertainer to some respects, but that's not what it is. The race should be about policies is a wonderful prospect, but Americans don't vote on policy boundaries. They vote on vibes. Okay. And as far as vibes goes, Kamala Harris has to deliver a more convincing speech. That's it. I think she would do better in a debate stage than she does as like a campaigner, I guess. But you guys are wrong if you think that the average American is like thinking about this. The average American is thinking about this from the perspective of policies. Policies are meaningless if the person who is pushing those policies is not a good communicator of said policies. You, as the presidential candidate, have to be the number one convincer of Americans on those policies. The bully pulpit is one of the most important parts of the presidency. Okay? Being able to inspire confidence in yourself, in your ideological movement, in the things that you want to do, that is what the voters will respond to. I can't believe I'm having this conversation, but that is how it works. Okay? Radfam libs are going to be up your ass for the next few months. Yeah, I don't really care. Like, what do you mean? I'm a Bernie bro. Remember? I was a Bernie bro. I was already a racist, white supremacist, woman hater because I wanted Bernie Sanders to be the president, Oh man, what will I do? I really do hope that that's not the number one reaction that liberals have to people criticizing Kamala Harris, especially from the left. She's not supposed to get up there and make jokes. That's not what I'm expecting out of her. But she just basically took it one step above Joe Biden, but given that this race is still close and Kamala has to prove herself, something she has not done in a very long time, she has to go above and beyond in the upcoming days. I think that this will still, the fact that she's not dead, the fact that she's young, these are younger, these are going to be These are going to be immediate improvements on the polls, I suspect. Okay? But there's only 100 days. Okay? So the first 30 to 40 days are pretty significant. In comparison to Joe Biden, it's pretty good. If she keeps this level up, then, it'll be a close race. What about the record-breaking fundraising in just 24 hours? Yeah, no, I'm saying that happened because people did not want Joe Biden, and people are happy with a younger, more dynamic candidate. Now she has to show that she's a younger, more dynamic candidate who's not just going to read out talking points. Yeah, this is a good take, though. My wife is a liberal, but distances herself from the news. May or may not vote in presidential elections, but not outside of that. She wasn't going to vote this year. She's been getting excited and on the verge of tears, seeing some TikTok Kamala edits show up on her feed, talking about how cool it would be to finally have a woman president. Never had the same level of sentiment about Hillary. It feels like it'll be a common position. I think that is a common position. I think that a lot of the base of support within the Democratic Party that left, okay, will come back and will come back or at least be interested in the race. That's the reason why there's 53,000 people watching me right now. This is good. Okay? This is good. But this is an opportunity. It's simply an opportunity. It's not a given. As far as polls go, 3 came out leaked today, and all 3 show the same thing. Kamala tied /down 1 to 2 points from Trump, but performed 4 points better than Biden straight up. So she already got a 4-point bump in one day. Exactly. No, that is expected. That is exactly what I expected to happen. That is exactly what I said would happen. And it's happening because people were not exactly upset with the Democratic Party in general. They were upset with Joe Biden's age. They were upset with Joe Biden being very obviously, a president whose mental faculties have deteriorated. People were also upset that it was just boring old people. Like, most Americans are not voting on anything beyond, oh man, we're going to vote for 2 old, boring white guys again. One that's chaotic. The other one's too damn old. So yes, there will of course be momentum in the direction of Kamala Harris. But that momentum, just like you said in the polls, is not going to be an immediate W. So if people thought Kamala Harris, a clearly better orator than Joe Biden, clearly not a cadaver, is going to just carry the Democrats into an electoral victory on its own, you're wrong. I'm not voting for who is more rizzed up, but she's not rizzed up enough. Yes, Rizz is a substitute word I'm using in this circumstance. It's also shortened for charisma. And it doesn't matter what you're not voting for. You are in the most politically autistic community of all time. What the are you talking about? Do you think you represent the average voter? Have you talked to a real human one time in your life? Guys, never, and I do this all the time, and I hope you do this as well, never look to this community as a broad representation of American politics, okay? The median voter is a sea of contradictions. Never forget, the median voter who is undecided at this point will tell you stuff like, yeah, we need to do mass deportations of all goddamn migrants in this country. And then in the same breath, will turn around and tell you, without even thinking about the contradictions, will tell you, yo, we should do amnesty actually for everyone that's been here. That is the direct opposite position on that issue. And yet Americans say like that all the time. Come on now. Of course you are not voting for who's more rizzed up. No, you're making lesser evil voting calculations. Okay. And by your estimation, understandably, Kamala Harris is the lesser evil, the clear lesser evil in comparison to Donald Trump. Okay. That's fine. That's understandable to make. That's an understandable calculation to make. Americans don't make that calculation demonstrably. Okay. If they did make that calculation, Hillary Clinton would have been president in 2016. Polls point to almost all the gains, by the way, from 1, undecided people, 2, RFK voters who abandoned him instantly as long as there was another choice, 3, Black Latino voters who way prefer her. She performed 20 to 30 points better with black people than Biden already, which you called like months ago. Yeah. This happens a lot in this chat. People think you're explaining how to vote and not explaining how you think people will vote. They don't get you're a pundit. Yeah. I mean, my opinion on the matter is very different than the average person's. And I suspect your opinion on the matter is very different as well. But we're not talking about 50,000 people in this community. We're talking about the hundreds of millions of people who vote. Okay. Do I think that momentum will only build from here? Yes, I do. Hasn't she already lost people's trust by covering Biden's obvious signs of mental decay? No, I don't think people will. I mean, Republicans will try to hammer that narrative, but I don't think it'll hit home. That is a definite weakness, though, for sure. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. In one day, you've pissed off leftists for talking about Kamala in anything near a positive light, and also been called a racist misogynist for being slightly critical of Kamala. The internet is so broken. Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit. That's why people still come in here. So it's a narrative, not real. No, I don't. Like, I think Biden has been pretty sheltered, especially from Kamala Harris and damn near the entirety of his cabinet. He has good moments and he has bad moments. Obviously, if he didn't have some good moments and his closest in his staff didn't keep him isolated from everybody else, if he didn't have any good moments, his dumbass campaign wouldn't have put him forward for a debate. They literally thought that he was good enough to debate, okay? Unless you think there was a secret plot to show the world how bad his brain is, unless you think there was a secret plot to show the world by his own campaign to show the world how bad how bad his brain is, I suspect that a lot of people saw him in his best moments and not in his worst moments, and probably cast aside, especially because the media wasn't placing an awful amount of emphasis on his bad moments and would just like hand wave it away, with the exception of right-wing media. We covered it quite a bit, but if you weren't paying super close attention until the debate, you were like, yeah, he's kind of old and he stumbles over his words from time to time, and not, oh my God, this dude is literally out of control. But yeah, this stuff is good. Stuff is really good for the Democrats. Over 888,000 donors in the past 24 hours. 60% are first-time donors. 43% new recurring donors. Kamala HQ doubled his following overnight. Game on. They raised $81 million in the first 24 hours. Okay? Like, that's incredibly impressive. That shows that the people were basically desperate, begging for anyone but Joe. Do you understand? In your opinion, what does she have to do to appeal to the average voter who isn't going out of their way to stay educated on the issues, how each party is saying they'll run their presidency? I've already told you, like, that was a carbon copy. That was a carbon copy of, I mean, here, this is Barack Obama campaigning, but like, he's not someone you can actually recreate, as I've always said.
This won't be easy.
You can't do that. You can't repeat Barack Obama. Just like you can't repeat Donald Trump in the Republican Party, you can't repeat Barack Obama in the Democratic Party. Trying to repeat Barack Obama in the Democratic Party will cause you to be a Pete Buttigieg style person.
The storm hasn't quite passed yet. Sometimes the skies look cloudy and it's dark, and you think the rains will never pass.
This is generational aura. This is generational Rizz.
Here's what I understand, that as long as all of us are together, as long as we are all committed, then there's nothing we can't do. That's why we started off.
It's crazy that he took all of these people, by the way, like millions of Americans who door knocked for him, and immediately took it and placed it under the DNC and shut down the actual like grassroots momentum that he had, that he could use to basically bully people and ensure that the progressive message of hope and change that he put forward and all the policies that he wanted to implement would have actually been implemented. He had an army, dude. He had a literal army. Anyway, I don't want to even talk about Obama and how disappointing he was in comparison to how phenomenally charismatic he is.
This campaign saying, yes, we can. That's why we understood that black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, young, old, rich, poor, it doesn't matter, we're all American. That our destiny will be shaped by us. And this young generation that's out here, the young people of America, understand that the clouds, these too will pass, that a brighter day will come, that if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to roll up your sleeves, if you're willing to walk up and march and talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, make a phone call, do some organizing, yes, do some community organizing, then I promise you, Fredericksburg, we will win Virginia, we will win this general election, and you and I together, we will change the country and change the world. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
It's so cool that he won with like an insane broad popular mandate after an unimaginably unpopular Republican administration that was so bad that they basically damn near collapsed the entire global economy. And then he turned around and he cut any kind of broad progressive momentum that existed within the Democratic Party, and he shuttered it so fast that I think he basically single-handedly destroyed what semblance of the left that remained in this country. Anyway, so regardless, probably better that Kamala doesn't have this, so she could just say like Obama could. I mean, I want Kamala Harris to not be like this. No one can be like this. This is a generational talent, once in a lifetime charisma. And I think the Democrats are wrong for trying to recreate that energy. It's not going to happen. Having said that, that's not my expectation. My expectation simply is that, you know, she pushes the needle a little bit further than 2019. He did have a nuclear deal with Iran. At least that was pretty poggers. That's true. That was one of the best things that he did. That, normalizing relations with Cuba. Any hope for Kamala being better on Gaza? I think so, but we shall see. Like I said, I don't think she can like cut across Joe Biden too much. Like I said, it's a bit of a tricky situation. She's definitely not going to do it. She's definitely not going to do it when, Joe Biden is on the call and she's at the campaign headquarters, right? It will be rather difficult for her to cut against Joe Biden on issues where Joe Biden is weak or was weak. Scahill actually scrutinized their record. Harris abetted the Gaza war even if she expressed moral unease, tactical disagreement. While she does not have half a century of overwhelming support for Israel's brutality and militarism like Biden, she does have a record of hardline support for Israel. Like, what I'm looking for in this situation is she going to be... Obama was another guy, by the way, who was critical of Israel. And then on his way out, he gave $38 billion to Israel. That's after Netanyahu called him boy, basically, over and over again. Netanyahu famously said Barack Obama was a young boy who didn't know anything about the Middle East. Oh my God. Okay, dude. What do you mean Jews secretly run? Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah, definitely. They just have mind control powers over the likes of Joe Biden, or unless you mean Joe Biden is a secret Jew. Anyway, Joe Biden. So I think her opinion on Gaza will be very important for the youth vote. That's number one, even though I think she will pick up a lot. She will pick up a lot more support from younger voters just by being not Joe Biden. That's number one. Having said that, is that enough to carry her across the finish line? I'm not so certain. Sure, she spoke at AIPAC. There is, dude, there's like 8 congresspersons who haven't spoken at AIPAC. Please stop. Like, I know everything that you know. I promise. Okay. And no, I didn't just read like a Stop AIPAC Tracker account headline. I know. Within hours of Joe Biden announcing he would not seek re-election, the Democratic Party's power elite began consolidating their support for Vice President Kamala Harris. I think Michigan, in the critical state of Michigan alone, where a devastating poll from the Detroit Free Press on Sunday morning showed Biden down 7 percentage points to Trump, across the state where there were over 100,000 uncommitted primary voters. You will not win Michigan if you don't fix the message on Gaza. And not only fix the message on Gaza, but you also have to demonstrate that there is now a change in attitude that people can believe in. Okay? Like, it's over. It's Jover at that point. It's actually super Jover. This is what I keep trying to stress, but people refuse to reckon with this reality for some reason. And they think like, oh, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, then, good luck getting deported is not going to be the winning message that you think it is. Okay? Notably, the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, Abdullah Hammoud, did not immediately come out in favor of Harris. Instead, he posted, Dems have an opportunity to be bold this convention, to nominate a candidate who can usher historic policy domestically and abandon the genocidal course charted in Gaza and beyond. America needs a candidate who can inspire voters to come out to the ballot box this November. 75% of those uncommitted voters will fold when faced with Trump in a real election. Primary is meh. It appears to me that I have more Democratic Party analysts in this chat than I previously thought. Okay? This attitude is exactly how Trump won. This attitude is exactly how Trump won in 2016. Oh, voters across the world do not vote or do not even buy product this way. Okay? There is no world where you're just like, nah, they'll just get scared and they'll vote. Like, it's very stupid. I don't know how the Democratic Party and the media apparatus that accompanies the Democratic Party has like convinced normal people, not people whose career is to lie like this, to genuinely hold on to this message. Okay? Now, it's not just Gaza. Her biggest weakness is immigration. Watch this space. Her biggest weakness on the policy front is immigration. It's not even the economy. Okay? It's immigration. That's big. She was the border czar. Now, her advantage is people didn't really put any of the policies on Kamala Harris. But if she continues along with the right-wing attitude demonstrated from top of the ticket Democrats and from the establishment Democrats in the party on we will be the border control party, that is a massive failure. Okay? Harris plans private meeting with Netanyahu as she skips congressional address. The vice president was scheduled to attend an event for a Zeta Phi Beta sorority in Indianapolis before the Israeli prime minister's address date was sent. She's not going to be there for Bibi's joint address to Congress, but will conduct a separate bilateral meeting with the Israeli prime minister this week at the White House. Harris was scheduled to attend an event for her sorority. That doesn't really mean much. Like, that's something you can totally say you're not going to if you thought it was important enough for you to put yourself out there as someone who is in support of Benjamin Netanyahu. Why is Bibi speaking to Congress? Because I think they just want every 100% of Americans to believe in anti-Semitic conspiracies. That's got to be the reason. Because I can't think of any good reason why a war criminal in the eve of this ICJ decision coming down, declaring Israel to be an apartheid state, okay, something that pretty much every NGO, every human rights organization agrees on, including Israeli human rights organizations. It's just completely ridiculous. You have upcoming ICC arrest warrants. The ICJ just said Israel has to immediately evacuate the West Bank and East Jerusalem, and that they are there in an unjust manner. They're violating international law. They're violating international humanitarian law. And America's like, nah, we're riding with Netanyahu, baby. He's great. We'll look at John Oliver in a little bit. So do I have confidence in Kamala Harris as far as like changing the course, changing the trajectory of like 78 years or 76 years of American foreign policy? No. She absolutely is not the person that would do such a thing, but we shall see. In her one-on-one meeting with Netanyahu, Harris plans to reiterate her commitment to Israel's security and right to defend itself, but will also convey her view that it is time for the war to end in a way where Israel is secure, all hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinian civilians in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can enjoy their right to dignity, freedom, and self-determination. Harris also plans to discuss the ongoing negotiations on a ceasefire deal. There's some daylight between Harris and Biden on the issue of Israel and Gaza for months. Since the beginning of the war, Harris has been telling colleagues in the administration, including Biden, that she wants the White House to show more concern publicly for the humanitarian damage in Gaza. This at least shows that she has the right political instincts, even if she does not morally care about apartheid and genocide, which is, better than Joe, I guess. Not saying much. One person close to the vice president's office says she believes the United States should be tougher on Netanyahu. She called for being more forceful at seeking a long-term peace deal and a two-state solution. Senate President pro tempore Patty Murray, who would have been next in line to the president over Netanyahu's joint address, declined to do so, according to a spokesperson. The person also told Politico the senator won't be attending the address at all. A growing number of congressional Democrats are boycotting the event. Every Democrat should boycott this event. It is ridiculous. Senator Ben Cardin will instead be the senator behind Netanyahu on Wednesday. according to a person familiar with the plans who was granted anonymity to discuss private conversations. Meanwhile, Capitol Police officials have warned lawmakers and staff about the protesters in the days leading up to the visit from Netanyahu. There will be increased security around the Capitol complex, especially Wednesday when Netanyahu is scheduled to speak. It would look really bad for the Biden administration and for the Democrats if, while they are in office, they beat the living dog out of protesters at the behest of a foreign leader who is doing a genocide that we are defending. Okay, when the rest of the international community has damn near made up their minds on the issue. Okay, it would be akin, if not worse, than the Trump BLM protests. No, Trump literally did the same thing too when Ben visited while he was in office. I mean, Trump did a lot. What you described was insane if they do that. Yeah, and sometimes I say this would be insane if the Democrats or Republicans do that, and then they end up doing just that, you know? So, not the bad cop. Biden officials say Harris won't shift course on supporting Israel. Oh my God. Officials argue those claiming vice president will take a harder line with Jerusalem are engaging in wishful thinking, says she shares ironclad U.S. commitment to Israel's security. Ay, ay, ay. This is Times of Israel. I don't know how, how good this coverage will look like. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, takes a lot of political courage and to even expend political capital that Kamala Harris does not have to change American foreign policy trajectory on our pivotal ally, Israel. And if she doesn't do that, I suspect she will lose Michigan, regardless. And she won't be able to capture enough of the youth vote that the Democrats desperately need. Jonathan Liz for Haaretz says those around Netanyahu say the meeting with Biden may not take place tomorrow. Kamala Harris is meeting with him, though. Anyway, Harris supported Biden's policies, even if she raised tactical objections or expressed moral unease with the horrifying death toll. While Harris is not Biden and does not have half a century of overwhelming support for Israel's brutality and militarism fueling her positions, she does have her own record of hardline support for Israel, both as a senator and as vice president. Soon after being elected in the Senate in 2016, Harris earned the reputation as an ardent defender of Israel. She spoke 2 years in a row at AIPAC, conferences that co-sponsored legislation aimed at undermining a United Nations resolution condemning Israel's illegal annexation of Palestinian land. One of her first international trips as a senator was to Israel, where she met Benjamin Netanyahu in 2017. I support the United States' commitment to provide Israel with $38 billion in military assistance over the next decade, Harris told an AIPAC conference that year. That was Obama. That was Obama's wonderful gift on his way out. I believe the bonds between the United States and Israel are unbreakable, and we can never let anyone drive a wedge between us. As long as I'm a United States senator, I will do everything in my power to ensure broad and bipartisan support for Israel's security and right to self-defense. Harris has compared building support for Israel and the coalitions forged during the U.S. civil rights movement and embraced President Donald Trump's Abraham Accords, just like the rest of the dumbasses in the Democratic Party. A series of normalization agreements between Israel and Arab states that circumvented demands for an independent Palestinian state. Harris co-sponsored legislation that called the agreements a historic achievement. In 2016 interview, Harris charged the boycott, divestments, and sanctions movement is based on the mistaken assumption that Israel is solely to blame for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. She added, the BDS movement seeks to weaken Israel, but it will only isolate the nation and steer Israelis against the prerequisite compromises for peace. Ironic, considering that Dianne Feinstein was anti-BDS legislation alongside Bernie Sanders. Rest in peace. One of her only bold and dare I say, brave political positions. At a private AIPAC conference in 2018, Harris was asked why she's so adamant in her support for Israel. It is just something that has always been a part of me, Harris said. I don't know when it started. It's almost like saying, when did you first realize you loved your family or love your country? It's just always there. It was always there. Now that's just word salad. She's just sucking up at AIPAC. Her support for Israel is central to who she is, Harris's campaign communications director Lily Adams said in 2019. I think a lot of people new to the Palestine conversation are going to be utterly shocked when they find out that this is like the most normal position a politician could have in 2019. Pre-2021, they would shoot you if you said anything not like this. Okay? Post-2023, October of 2023, things are radically different. Having said that, there are no assurances in here. There are no assurances in here that Kamala Harris will break away. But I just want to remind you that this doesn't mean she is like a ride or die Zionist. Well, it does, but so is everyone at that point. Okay. In March 2019, amid calls from Democratic Party activists to boycott that year's AIPAC conference, Harris joined other candidates, including Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, in skipping the gathering. Instead, she tweeted that she had met privately with California AIPAC leaders to discuss the need for a strong U.S.-Israel alliance, the right of Israel to defend itself, and my commitment to combat anti-Semitism in the country and the world around the world. While Harris generally speaks in favor of Palestinian self-determination and a two-state solution in line with a broader Democratic Party policy position since 1993 Oslo Accord, she has simultaneously opposed efforts to impose consequences on Israel for its flagrant violations of international laws. I think 2019 is like a pivotal point for Kamala Harris as far as her track record. Not only did she not attend the AIPAC conference that year, even though she still posted support for AIPAC, that was apparently the year where she actually did not vote on sending more arms to Israel, which is not featured in this article, it seems. Harris set a tone for her posture on Israel as a senator when she co-sponsored legislation in 2017 condemning former President Barack Obama's decision to abstain from vetoing a UN Security Council resolution critical of Israel. The resolution, which was adopted in December 2016, stated that the establishment by Israel of settlements in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, including East Jerusalem, has no legal validity, and that constitutes a flagrant violation under international law. Yeah, that was... She sponsored the Green New Deal. She was pro-Medicare for all. That was, I think, an attitude shift from Kamala Harris, where, like, under the Trump reign, Democrats love posturing like they're radical socialists. Okay? So remember that. Having said that, however, it's still important, especially when she's going against the grain, because a lot of California Democrats will not do any of those things. They're even worse than the average Democrat. Harris and her Senate colleagues charged that Obama's refusal to block the UN resolution was inconsistent with longstanding United States policy. They said U.S. policy should be aimed at preventing the UN from action that further isolate Israel through economic or other boycotts, and urged future administrations to uphold the practice of vetoing all United States Security Council resolutions that recognize unilateral Palestinian actions, including the declaration of a Palestinian state. During 2020, New York Times asked Harris if she thought Israel meets international standards of human rights. Overall, yes, she replied. In Harris's first call with Netanyahu after becoming VP, she told the Israeli leader that the U.S. was opposed to ICC investigating alleged Israeli war crimes against the Palestinians. Harris and Netanyahu noted that their respective governments' opposition to the International Criminal Court's attempts to exercise its jurisdiction over Israeli personnel, according to a White House readout of the call. Yes, Bashar is going to be on CNN at 6 p.m. our time in 2 hours. So the rest of her attitude shift comes after October 7, where she toes the line on reaffirming the commitment to Israel's security. Okay? There's a couple moments where she's like against the grain when it is genuinely politically courageous to do so. Okay? Like I said, not giving additional weapons to Israel is one of those like messaging moments that you take that is not something to cast aside as insignificant. Remember this stepdaughter? Oh yeah, no, this is, yeah. That's why a lot of people being like, oh, Douglas Emhoff is a Jew are anti-Semitic and stupid, especially considering that Douglas Emhoff's stepdaughter of U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is anti-Zionist. Look at this. Jerusalem Post doing a cancel op on Ella Emhoff. She neglected to mention the Hamas attack. Anyway, if Kamala departs from Biden at all on Gaza, it may reflect the influence of her national security advisor, Phil Gordon. The neocons at FDD regard Gordon as very much on the progressive wing of the national security continuum, Obama redo. That, of course, means that they'll at least change course from Biden, considering that Biden was significantly further to the right on Israel in comparison to Barack Obama. But this is most likely the best you're going to get. Jesus, it's sobering that Obama is on the left wing of U.S. foreign policy. Yes,